Dear first year students, I will continue the poem Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening. The first part has gone, and I will now continue the second part from the second stanza of the poem. Since the poem has 4 stanzas, when one stanza has gone, 3 stanzas are to be discussed, and you are to be very meticulous. So you come to the second stanza of the poem. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and a frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. So first of all, the poet has addressed his horse affectionately, so that he has pointed out his horse is very little. That means very loving horse, affectionate horse, his close horse, very close to him. And since the horse is domesticated, it is tamed, and the permanent companion of Robert Frost, the poet has addressed it as a little horse, dear horse, loving horse, like this, because the horse has already become one of the members of his family. The horse has already become one of the members of the family. Since the horse is there, it feels awkward. It feels awkward. It thinks that the thing has already happened which is unusual. That is queer. That is unusual. So, the horse feels just like a fish out of water. In the clammy evening, when the poet is there, when nobody is there. The poet is there, nobody is there, excepting the horse. Tranquility prevails, calmness prevails. The road is de-peopled, nobody comes and goes. The owner of the forest is residing there in the village. For by that time, in that tranquil evening, the evening is the part of the night. Evening is not at all the part of the day, rather it is the part of the night. In such a tranquil night, in such a tranquil evening, the poet enjoys the beauty of nature, the beauty of the woods, when the woods is whitewashed. It looks like snow. It looks like the broad daylight, the light of the midday. It looks like. So that is why the poet cannot but enjoy heartily the very beauty what the woods has presented. So, in the second line of the poem, the poet wants to communicate his feeling that his horse thinks it unusual when the poet has stood there, without any sufficient rhyme or reason. Without any sufficient rhyme or reason, the poet is there. As to why he is there, the horse is thinking, the horse is pondering, the horse is totally oblivious about his staying or about his halting there near the woods. Really, it is very much harassing for him. It is a harassment for him. It feels unusual. The thing is unusual. The thing is queer. So, in the first line of the second stanza, my little horse must think it queer, must think it queer, to stop without a farmhouse. There is no farmhouse, there is no stable, there is no inn. But why did the poet stand there? Why did the poet see the forest? Without any reason, without any sufficient rhyme or reason. Why did the poet watch the beauty? The horse was pondering a lot. The horse was pondering a lot. He was pondering or he was thinking a lot in order to find out the clue, in order to find out the thing as to why the writer was there. To stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. It is the darkest evening. So you mark, the evening is not at all darkest. But why the poet has written that it is the darkest evening of the year? It may be 21st or 22nd December. You think about the northern hemisphere. So very close to America, and also it has direct influence, it has direct impact on American soil. And 21st December, in 21st December or in 22nd December, the night becomes larger than the day. So the evening is the part of the night, and it is monotonous, it is solitary. The evening is monotonous, nobody is there. And the poet has covered up a long distance. The evening has come, the poet has covered up a long distance. He is fully exhausted. He is totally exhausted, fully exhausted. Only because of that he says, the evening is the darkest one. 3-4 reasons I have told you that why the evening is the darkest. Number one, it is 21st or 22nd December. The night becomes larger. It is the darker night. It is a long night. Since the evening is the part of the night, it is the darkest one. And I want to say again that the poet is totally exhausted, riding the horse perhaps throughout the day. And again the thing is that the evening is monotonous. The evening is silent. The evening is monotonous. The evening is solitary, forlorn. Though the silence will make you retrospective. Silence has a main duty. It will make somebody retrospective. It will make somebody nostalgic. It will make somebody nostalgic, Nostalgic. He has already stopped there only for a few moments. He had halted there only for a few moments. But he gained many things out of seeing the natural sight, the very beautiful sight, where God dwells, where the divine dwells, the omnipotent dwells. And that beauty is magnificent, very majestic, and he wants to receive many things out of seeing the beauty of the forest or the beauty of the woods. So, to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and a frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. There is no farmhouse, there is no inn, there is no stable, there is no house there. But the poet stops there, without any sufficient reasons. What the horse thinks, but the reason is vital, but the thing is vital in him, the objective is vital, because he will stand and stare, or he stands and stares, he sees, he receives, but it is quite oblivious. That means the horse is quite oblivious. The horse does not know. Though the horse is making a guesswork, since it is a subhuman, domesticated, and it is making a guesswork as to why the poet is there standing without any sufficient rhyme or reason. So that is why the horse feels outwitted. The horse feels astounded. The horse is at his wit's end. And the horse is totally surprised. He thinks it queer. Queer means unusual. Queer means unusual. The second line of the poem, the first line of the poem, the first line means the first line of the second stanza gives a personification, gives a personification. My little horse must think it queer. It is a personification. Where a personification comes, now when you find that an inanimate object is given life, or an animate object is endowed with the power to behave like a man, to behave like a human being. So that is personification. Suppose inanimate object is given life, no doubt. By the time we get a personification, and when an animate object, a living creature, will behave like a human being, it is also a personification. And the first line of the second stanza is a personification. And the horse has already become a symbol here. The horse is a symbol. What is the symbol? The symbol is rationality, reason. The horse has the power of reason, the power of rationality, reality, duty and obligation. Reality, duty and obligation, all these things are there with the horse. So that is why the horse becomes a symbol here in the poem. The woods, stopping by woods has no meaning. Woods is a metaphor. Woods is a symbol. Woods is a symbol means woods is the symbol of death. Woods is the symbol of beauty. Woods is the source of inspiration. Normally we say it is the symbol of death. Sea is the symbol of death. But death is more beautiful. Ugly is beautiful. Small is beautiful. The woods is very small, but it is beautiful. The woods is very small. It is beautiful. The ugly is beautiful. Beauty is beautiful, no doubt. We cannot say that beauty is not at all beautiful. But ugly is also beautiful. And the small is beautiful. Since forest is very small, the small forest, what I am telling you about the woods. Though the woods is very small, it is very beautiful, excellent, very charming, very cute. That means it is very beautiful. So, between the woods and the frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year, the poet has stood in between the two. What are they? They are the frozen lake and the woods. The poet has stood in between the frozen lake and the woods. The poet has stood and enjoyed the beauty and seen the beauty of nature heartily. He sees the beauty of nature because nature gives him inspiration. Nature inspires him. In nature he sees God. In nature he sees truth. In nature he sees beauty. That is why nature is the storehouse or is the repository of beauty, divine power, and also inspiration, impetus, instinct, intuition, and the things like them. So that is why students, if possible, you will see the words in the dictionary and you will get the meaning. Again, I want to say that the darkest evening of the year, why it is the darkest, I have told you, 3-4 reasons I have given. Number one, it is the part of, evening is the part of the night, it is not a dusk, evening is not a dusk, it is the part of the night. And the light is bigger than the day, because it is the 21st or 22nd December. And when everybody is absent, found absent on the road is de-peopled, nobody comes and goes. It is monotonous, the evening is monotonous, it is solitary. And the poet is still watching the beauty. Being exhausted, perhaps he has already gone, or he has already gone for a pretty long time. He was wandering with the horse. He was riding the horse for a pretty long time throughout the day. And in the last part of the day, The poet has come across these woods. He has come across these woods. And he is exhausted, but still he is a beauty monger. Still he is a worshipper of beauty. Still he is a beauty monger. The votary of beauty, the votary of beauty. The priest of beauty. The priest. Because he worships beauty, worships nature. Just like Wordsworth, he worships nature. Just like Keats, who worships beauty. Even if Wordsworth worships beauty and nature, both. And John Keats worships beauty. So the beauty of nature is important. The beauty of nature, it will never fill our belly. Rather, it will fill our mind. It will give sufficient feedback. It will give sufficiently to our mind. And mind will perceive, the mind will receive out of seeing the varying beauty of nature. The varying beauty of nature is important. The varying beauty of nature is very much important. And the nature has made him learn. The nature has made him learn the duty, his responsibility, his obligation for the society. Because the writer has to live, the poet has to live as a human being, as a rational human being. He has to leave the footprints on the sand of time. He has to leave his legacy. He has to leave his bequest. He has to leave his footfalls on the sand of time. Dear students, you have to see that the horse has already become a subhuman here. The horse is not a beast. Because a manly quality is found in the horse. When a horse becomes manly, when a beast becomes manly, we always welcome it. But when a man becomes beastly, he becomes more bestial than the beast itself. He becomes more bestial, B-E-S-T-I-A-L. He becomes more bestial than the beast itself, you mark. In a true sense of the term, man in a true sense of the term, I want to say. So, that is why that horse has already become rational. It is a rational beast or it is a rational animal. It will be humiliation for him if you say that it is a beast. It will be humiliation for, sheer humiliation for the horse. It is a subhuman, a reasonable animal, a rational, and he behaves like a man. So, you come to the third stanza of the poem. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds is the sweep of easy wind and dawny flag. In the meantime, when it is very late, when it becomes late, it is very late, the horse is bound to shake its harness bell. In order to make the writer conscious about the earth around, about the duty, about his obligation, the horse is quite aware of. That is why it shakes its harness bell to make him aware of, to make him conscious that there is a world, that there is a reality. You come back to the world of reality and see what the earth is, and see what your duty is, and work accordingly. So that is why the horse has already shaken its harness bell in order to make the writer conscious, in order to make the poet conscious. So, in the first line of the third stanza, you see, he gives his harness bells a shake. He gives to ask if there is some mistake. If there is some mistake, the only other sounds is the sweep of easy wind and the dawny flag. If the writer has committed mistakes by standing there or spending the evening, has the writer committed any mistake? So, the horse is now pondering. The horse is now thinking of all these things. That is why the horse again says, again feels, the only other sounds is the sweep of easy wind and dawny flag. When we find the sound of the harness bell, by that time, the sound of the easy wind and sound of the flakes of snow falling flakes of snow sound is also heard. Three sounds are there. Number one, the sound of the harness bell. Number two, the sound of the dunny flakes of snow. And number three, the sound of the easy wind, very mild wind, friendly wind, genial wind, very good wind, very congenial. And that is the musical. Even if the forest gives beauty and the sounds give music, you mark. The forest in front of him gives beauty. At the same time, simultaneously, the sounds, three sounds, the sounds of the harness bell, the rhythmical sound of the harness bell, the mild sound of the wind, and the genial sound of the snowfall. That sound of these three things gives him music. And he is now overwhelmed. He is now overwhelmed. He is now spellbound. He is now charmed. Sing the beauty, or hearing the music. Sing the beauty and hearing the music at the same time. You mark. Music is there from the three sounds, and beauty is there from the words. And the poet is totally astounded. The poet is simply desperate. The poet is simply desperate. Sing the beauty and hearing the music. And that is why he is spending the evening there. He is spending the evening there without any hindrance. Without any hindrance. He is spending his evening there. When the horse feels awkward, feels unusual. It is unusual thing what the horse feels. So you come to the fourth stanza, the last stanza of the poem, which is philosophical, the last stanza of the poem. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. Woods are lovely, dark and deep. Contradictions are there. Lovely, very beautiful, but dark and deep. The dark things are beautiful. The deep things are beautiful. What the poet says. That is why the woods are lovely, dark and deep. Dark is beautiful. I have told you earlier that ugly is beautiful. Because beauty lies in our eyes. Beauty is not skin deep. Beauty lies in our eyes. What our eyes says. When our eyes will say, it is beautiful, then we will give recognition. We will give recognition. So that is why beauty lies in the eyes. Beauty lies in the eyes. Beauty does not lie there in the body. Beauty lies in the heart. Beauty does not lie there in your body. It lies in the heart. So that is why we see that the woods are lovely, dark and deep. When the woods is appreciated, when the woods is seen, felt, the woods is felt, you mark. The woods is seen, the woods is appreciated, and the poet finds beauty in it. And if you do not appreciate, you will see that the woods are full of darkness. If you do not appreciate it, you will say that beauty, that the woods is full of darkness. It is deep, full of darkness, without having any beauty. But this is the poet's mind. This is the poet's mind which has already given a recognition that the woods is beautiful. Mark. So everything is possible in poetry. Because poetry, you feel that you will keep an ocean. You will keep an ocean in a teacup. गोटे चाहा कप भितर गोटे महासमुद्र को भर्ती करवा जहा कविता लिखा से यू विल फाइंड एन ओशन इन ए टी कप. That is poetry, or that is a piece of poem. That is a creative work. That is a creative art, ART, very valuable art. So this is a very beautiful poem, and that poem is liked by Jawaharlal Nehru. the then Prime Minister of Free India. And it is a very beautiful poem, having a moral lesson, having a lesson, because the poem has taught us to be dutiful, to be obliged, to be meticulous, to be very serious, to be very earnest, to be very serious, to be very earnest. The poet has given this message in the last part of the poem. You mark, the woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. Contradictions are there. But I cannot say this is oxymoron. I cannot say oxymoron is a figure of speech. Oxymoron. Oxymoron. I cannot say. Because though there is contradiction, lovely, dark and deep, three contradictions are there. Lovely, dark and deep. But I do not say, I don't want to say this is an oxymoron. What the poet has said is quite correct. Because you have that eyes to appreciate. You have that mind to appreciate. And he has appreciated the words in his poet's mind, poetic mind. He has his poetic mind. That is the wealth. That poetic mind is the wealth. I am telling you about a metaphor. Wealth is a metaphor. So, why it is a metaphor? It has already brought something for you. It will bring something for you. Or it has brought something for the poet. So, that is why that poetic mind is different from that of the minds of others. So, the poet has appreciated the poem. The poet has appreciated the beauty. The poet has appreciated the woods. The poet has appreciated this scenery, the scenery, very good scenery, with his poetic mind. With his poetic mind, kabbiko drushtikona. With the help of this poetic mind, he has seen the forest. Only because of that, he never comes away from the forest in the evening, in the darkest evening. I have told you, the poet may be exhausted. The night is, the evening is monotonous, solitary, forlorn. Nobody comes and goes. Everywhere there is calmness, tranquility prevails. And with the horse, the poet stands and sees the beauty. Because he is a romantic poet. Romanticism is madness, you mark. Romanticism is the disease, whereas classicism is the health. Some of the critics have already pointed out, this is not my view, you will take me otherwise. But some of the critics have already pointed out that romanticism is health. Romanticism is disease and classicism is health. Unless you be romantic, you cannot appreciate nature. You cannot appreciate beauty. The romantics do that. So this is why Robert Frost is one of the romantic poets in American soil. And he is the William Wordsworth in America. Everybody will accept. Wordsworth is known to everybody. Every elite man. Wordsworth is known to every elite man. Everybody, every educated man. He is known to the world. He is known to the globe. And Robert Frost in America also, though he belongs to America, he is known to the world. America has gifted him to the world. England has gifted Wordsworth to the world. You mark. The English has left India. But the Englishmen have left India, but they have left their legacy. That is English language and literature. You mark. They have left India. They have done many things. They have exploited us. They have done many things. But they have left one thing, that is English language, or that may be English literature. That is the legacy. That is the bequest they have left. My dear students, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. So the poet says that he has to cover up a long distance before the night comes. This is ordinary meaning, I am telling. The poet will cover up a long distance just before the night comes. But that is not the exact meaning. The philosophical meaning of the poem. The philosophical meaning is that he has to do many things. He has to show his obligation for the society. just before his death. He will achieve many things just before his death, before his doom comes, before his end comes, before the conclusion comes. In the concluding part of the poem, in the concluding part of the poem, the poet says that he has to leave his legacy. He must be dutiful. He must be obliged. The miles to go before I sleep and miles to go. Because this is the journey of life. So this is not ordinary journey. This is the journey of life, Jivan or Jatra. So this is the journey of life he has to undertake. He has to undertake the journey of life. And what is the necessity or what is the benefit of seeing the beauty? You come to reality and see the beauty, no doubt. You are to do your duty and see the beauty of nature at the same time. But going away from the reality of life, tough reality, hard reality of life, you will only enjoy the beauty which is meaningless. You will only enjoy the beauty that is fully meaningless. I always say that Robert Frost comes from nature to reality and Wordsworth goes from reality to nature. You mark. In most of Wordsworthian poems, you will see that he has already come from reality to nature, Robert Frost from nature to reality. A basic difference is there. You have to find out. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. The woods are very beautiful, dark and deep. Dark is beautiful. Deep forest is also beautiful. And also ugly is beautiful, small is beautiful. Woods is very small. It is beautiful. The woods are lovely, dark and, but I have promises to give, many promises to give. What are the promises? You mark. I have many promises to keep. I have many promises to keep. What are the promises? What are the vows? Or what are the things to be done? And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. These are the two things. Only one thing, two lines. Only one thing, two lines repeated. And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. These are all promises. These are all about his promises. So these are his obligations. And he has to cover up a long distance. He has to achieve many things. He has to do many things. He has to leave his legacy. He has to leave his bequest. And all sorts of things are there. And you mark that he must be, or everyone must be dutiful. Only seeing beauty will never fill your belly. I always say that only seeing beauty will never do anything. Because you are to come to the reality of life. Then you go to the nature's world. Come to the reality. Enjoy the reality. In reality you will see. That is why Wordsworth is famous for his realism. So there is realism in Wordsworthian philosophy. There is realism in Wordsworthian nature. That realism is categorized. I always say, he is away from the French realism. He is away from the German realism, Italian realism. But he has his own realism that is categorized. You mark. His romanticism and realism both are categorized. Likewise, Robert Frost has already pointed out, or he has given hints about his obligation duty, about his truthfulness, about his dutifulness, about his obligation for the society, for his kith and kin, for the nation, or for all. Miles to go and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go, that means he has to do something. It does not imply that you are to cover up a long distance before the night comes, before you sleep, before the slumber comes. That is not the thing. But the thing is that you are to do many things. You are to fulfill the promises. You are to satisfy all the promises. You are to satisfy the urge, urge. You are to satisfy your own feelings. You are to satisfy your own objective. What is the objective? Now you are to leave the legacy, legacy. You are to leave the legacy, the bequest, bequest, bequest. So that is the permanent art, long lasting. Because he has written this poem. This is an art, in form of an art. So it is permanent. It is a permanent. Art is permanent. And a life must be sublime. Your life must be sublime. You must be dutiful, obliged for the society. And that is why the poem has a moral lesson, the poem has a lesson, and you must keep it in mind. You are to keep in memory these 4 lines. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and minds to go before I sleep, and minds to go before I sleep. So with this, I want to conclude. I want to close this poem because I don't want to analyze sufficiently, because you will never catch a hold of the meaning. My philosophy you will never catch a hold of, and you only listen to me and see and also receive what I say. That will also benefit you, no doubt. Dear students, you should be very meticulous while listening to the video. This is the second part, and first part has already gone. Now I concluded the second part. Then I will teach you another poem, Oft in the Stilly Night. Oft in the Stilly Night. First year poem. This is the first year poem prescribed for the first year in the syllabus. Thank you all. Thank you all.